the edition of the Investigative Journal on the Genesis Communication Radio Network. And we're talking to Svali, who has been a member of the family, the order, for many, many years. She left 10 years ago. We were talking about her induction ceremony at the Vatican, how all roads lead to the Vatican when we're talking about the Illuminati. And before I get into the way they're organized, Vali's going to tell you this organization that's incredible, just like a corporation, coming down worldwide to America also. I just wanted to mention, just to give you a short timeline, to give you an idea, and Vali, you might find this interesting too. After Pope John Paul I was killed, and I say killed, officially it was a heart attack, it should be known that he was only the Pope for 39 days, and during those 39 days he was trying to do one thing, and that was to reorganize and to clean up the Vatican Bank, to expose a number of the Freemason Masonic priests and other members of the church that had ties to the Freemasons and the Mafia. He had given a list to Cardinal Jean Villot, which might have been a mistake because there's some shady dealings about this cardinal. But anyway, he gave a list to Cardinal Villot regarding the number of people he wanted out. And this was going deep into the Vatican scandals, into their corruption, into probably the first layers of this Illuminati and many of these other things that are going on. Well, a day after he presented his list, he was found dead in his chambers. John Paul then took over, never did anything, protected everyone. The Vatican bank never was cleaned up, and that's not fiction, though that's history. Svali, it does go back to the Vatican. Tell us about this organization that you learned about. You were a mid-level worker in this programmer, a mind programmer for years. Tell us about this organization that you learned about.
Well, I learned about it just by being there and seeing people and talking to people. But basically, like you said, it is very much organized like a large international corporation. In that sense, the headquarters would be Rome, the Vatican, because that's considered the spiritual center of the world for the Illuminati. From there, the power bases go to Europe. There's 12 men. They're called the 12 Lords or the 12 Fathers, and they each represent a country in Europe. And of those 12, the three ruling, it's a triumvirate, is the UK, France, and Germany, because those are the oldest houses. In the Illuminati, it's called the House, the German House, the French House, UK House. From there, America was considered a mission field, and so it was basically in the 1600s, the first Illuminists started coming over, and they established their power base in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now it's considered the spiritual center for the Illuminati, and from there, they divided the U.S. as time went on, and as it became developed into 7 regions. The East Coast, but the 2 huge divisions for the group are the East Coast region, which is east of Mississippi, and the West Coast region, which is west of the Mississippi. Spiritual headquarters for East Coast are Pittsburgh, but the administrative headquarters are in Alexandria, Virginia. On the West Coast, the spiritual headquarters are Portland, Oregon, and the administrative headquarters are San Diego, California.
Now, you originally were in Virginia, then you moved to San Diego, correct?
Yes. I was first affiliated with Alexandria and then with San Diego.
You know, you said that Pittsburgh was, I've heard that too, Pittsburgh, the spiritual capital. Was interesting to note that George Bush, right after he was elected, traveled to Pittsburgh and gave a huge speech to a Masonic lodge there. Find that interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's not coincidence. And then underneath the regional councils, as they were, well, there's a national council for the U.S., of course, over all of them, 13 men, and under them are the regional councils. And underneath the regional councils, then you have your local councils. And underneath your local councils are going to be your what they call sister groups, or what most people consider cousins.
That's the lower levels, the ones carrying out some of the MK Ultra programs, other things like that.
Well, yeah, but they use a lot of the principles of MK Ultra at many of the levels, I mean, these people are well versed in every aspect of behavioral science, physiology, human anatomy and physiology. I mean, they're considered the scientists, as it were, of the occult world. Because
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, they study it. They know it. They know it inside out, and they use it and apply it.
Now, you were a mid-level trainer. You moved up the ranks quickly. Tell us a little bit about what, when you became an adult, I believe it was 22 years old, you began working as a trainer, a mind programmer. Tell us what this is all about. And you're working specifically with members of the organization, correct? And in your capacity, members of the military in San Diego.
Well, I actually started as a trainer when I was much younger. I started by the time I was 7, I was being mentored in my role. At the age of 12, I did become a full trainer, but I became a head trainer and sat on the regional leadership council at the age of 22. That's when I was overseeing other trainers and mentoring them and teaching them.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are probably thinking, and I did it first, how do you manage this? You have a life, you are a wife, you are also married to someone in the same group. Tell us a little bit how this works, because I know you grow up with a lot of mind control, and we don't have time, I don't think, to go into specifically how they trained you as a youth, and I still think you feel some of the effects of it, as you were saying. But when you get to a point of working for this group, how do you manage both your day life and your night life, which was with the Illuminati mostly in the wee hours of the morning? Go ahead.
I think the best analogy I can raise for that is you may be a little bit different when you're at work than when you're at home relaxing. Because most people learn to some degree to compartmentalize the different parts of their life. The only thing is when you're a group like this is you learn to compartmentalize to a much greater degree. So that it's almost like you can do things not just in the night, but I mean, sometimes, I spend a month sometimes in Europe or over in Germany, so it was daytime too, but you learn that in that situation you act a certain way, but then when you're not in that situation you act a different way. So
why are they so concerned about their children? I mean, they seem to be very concerned about how you grew up and others in your same role about, why are they basically involved in so much of this training that to me, like you were involved in the 12 disciplines, all this other stuff. Tell me what their mindset is.
I think if you were to ask them, they would say that they're helping the child develop their potential. They don't see it as evil or what they see is helping the child develop their capabilities, because all the training has a goal. They don't just sit there, I'm going to do something that's painful just to hurt you. I mean, they will do something painful because they're trying to induce an experience in the child. They believe it's inducing enlightenment. Does that make sense? All right,
good. We're going to, it makes sense. We're going to continue with that in the second half hour. Get into some of the different areas the Illuminati has infiltrated in our country. It's your knowledge on the Genesis Communication Radio Network.